Hey guys, it's Whitney Bro, and I am back with another video. This time I'm going to be doing a full face of a singular brand. I was inspired by my friend Tina, whose video about a full face of Tarte makeup really inspired me to try to do the same with my own collection. It was a little harder than I thought it was going to be, but shout out to her for this idea, and I will link her video up here. And you guys can check that out if you'd like to. And that being said, let's get on with my video. So for my video, the brand that I chose to do this with is NYX. So NYX Cosmetics is a brand that I have loved for a very long time. I think they provide high quality, high performing products at a very accessible price point. Some of their products do have a little bit steeper of a price point than a true drugstore product typically would. But again, because of that accessibility factor and them being in a lot of locations, it's almost like they cancel each other out, the good and the bad. For my first category, I'm going to be applying. I'm going to be doing my eyebrows and then my eyeshadow. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys on in. Now that I have you guys nice and close, I'm going to go ahead and apply my first item, which is the NYX Ultimate Shadow and Liner Primer. It works a lot better for eyeshadow than it does for eyeliner. I have tried it for both. So for this, I'm in the shade Medium Deep. And it is a very, very thin consistency. I really love this primer because it works really well with a lot of different types of eyeshadow formulas. I really love that it's my skin tone because if I'm not super precise with it, it has a good enough tint that it really doesn't give away that I haven't been super precise. So the eyeshadow palette from NYX that we're going to jump into is the Swear By It palette, and it's this really large, I think it's 35 pan. I'm really not sure what look I'm going to go for. I'm being drawn to these like orangey mustardy shades in the middle, so we'll see. I'm going to go into the shade number 20, which is just this kind of orangey color, and I'm probably going to turn it into some kind of peachy look. I'm still deciding, to be completely honest. And we're just going to take this kind of packing brush and pack that color across the crease. And I'm going to be using that shade number 19 right here, which is kind of a more peachy vibe. And I'm taking that on my Sigma E27 brush that just kind of looks like that. And there's no mirror on this palette. That's the other downside to it, especially for 35 bucks. Peachy. And honestly, I'm really liking how that looks right now. Just kind of messily patting that all over the lid. Now we're going to go in with this shade right here, which is number 37. And I'm going to be blending this into the outer V and kind of blending it out with the more peachy shade up here. And I'm also taking shade number 4. I'm using that to blend out any creases or places where I might have got a little bit out of hand. Any creases. That's not what I meant. Places where there's any harsh lines. This is where we're at after that shade number 37. It did deepen things, but just not quite as much as I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and use the shade 34 right here, which looks like it's just a deeper version of it. And I'm going to take that on that very first brush that I used. I'm going to clean off some of the oranginess of it because I really don't want that. Number 34 on this kind of flat, fluffy brush. Way better. Okay. I'm going to take our baby wipe and just get our finger tightly in there. And I like to try to relax my eyes as much as possible when I do this. And then I just take it straight out. It creates that sharp edge. I think that's a little lower than I want it, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to be grabbing my NYX glitter glue, and I'm going to go in with that. So I fibbed about only using one palette. I'm going to be using the NYX and Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Part 3 Spellbook palette. And I'm going to be going in the shades, I should say. Class in Session right here, which is kind of this warmer, light tone. And then I'm going to be going in the shade Hellraiser down here. I'm going in with that shade Class in Session. And I'm just taking a short we might do 3, honestly. So now I'm going in with the shade Dark Princess. I'm taking that brush we had the dark color with, and I'm using that shade Hellraiser and placing it just between that darker gold and then the outer corner shade. I'm going to go back to that Class in Session shade, which is the first one that we used, and just going to kind of reinforce it a little bit because I feel like it got lost. That's going to be the eyeshadow for now. We are going to come back to the lower lash line. I just got to figure out what exactly I want to do. Next up is my brows, and I'm going to be using the NYX Fix and Fluff pen. One side is a wax, mine's in the shade Clear, and then the other side is this kind of paddle brush to help you distribute it. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this through my eyebrows right now. I really like this because it almost functions like a brow soap, but in a pen form. And it's really nice because if you have stubborn brow hairs like I do, this really gets in there. Up next for the brows, Lift and Snatch, the brow tint pen. And I'm just basically going to use this to go anywhere that I have sparse areas. We have the brows lifted and snatched. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the face. So for our primer, we're going to be using the NYX Bear With Me Multitasking Spray. It's a prime, set, and refresh spray. So I just gave myself a really good misting of that, so the skin's going to be nice and hydrated. It's not a great primer for longevity, but it is an excellent primer for adding hydration. So if you use it in combination with another long-lasting primer, it's going to give you fantastic results. We're going to be going into the NYX Born to Glow foundation. I think this is discontinued as far as I'm aware, which it makes me really sad because it's a really, really good foundation. But I'm in this shade Neutral Tan if you can find it somewhere. I'm used to a little bit more tacky of a primer, so using that spray as a primer is a little odd, but it's the only NYX product that I have that could be used as a primer. And I'm just using this Morphe Kabuki brush. It's from one of their older vegan brush sets. The NYX Born to Glow concealer, and this is discontinued, which is why I believe the foundation is as well. And if the foundation isn't, I'm sure it's going to be very soon. And this honestly will probably be the last time that I'll use this concealer. Sad face. I have their Bear With Me concealer also, but I use that in quite a bit of my other videos already. A trick I learned from one of my friends, Bree. She's Bree on the Beats on Instagram, and then her client page is Bree Danielle, but she blends her concealer out with a powder puff. It gives a beautiful finish and amazing coverage. See how beautiful that coverage is and the finish? I am so happy that she put me onto that hack. I'll put her up here and link her in the description. To kind of match the fieriness on the eyes, I'm going to go in with two different NYX blushes. They're both from the Sweet Cheeks line, but this is the blush mousse and this is the powder blush. And this one's in the shade Almost Famous and Silence is Golden. So I'm going to start with the orange brush. It has a different cap, but the glue on mine decided to break off. But anyway, we're going to start with Almost Famous. A big old dot like that. And we're going to do it on both sides because this formula is not fast drying at all. How it's that mousse consistency, it does kind of stay on your skin creamier longer. So then I'm going to take an Eco Tools Wonder Color Finish brush. And just tap, tap, tap. I kind of want to keep the pigment in this area because we're going to fade it into a yellow blush closer down this way. So now I've got the cream blush where I want it. I'm going to go in with that powder blush, Wet n Wild, some kind of brush. And we're just going to swirl it quite a bit till you can see the pigment on the end of the brush. And I'm just going to kind of tap it. Yeah, you can see that. You can see that on camera. And then gonna take it over the rest too, just so it looks a little more seamless. I really like that. That's really subtle and pretty. I love that. We've got eyeshadow, we've got foundation, we've got blush, eyebrows, etc. We're going to jump into bronzer. New Buttermelt bronzer from NYX. This is in the shade Butta Off. I'm just going right in. Ooh, it does have a scent. It kind of smells like vanilla-ish, like vanilla and cocoa butter. That's kind of the scent that not like cocoa chocolate, like it's made with shea butter or cocoa butter or something. It probably is. I don't know anything. I would imagine that's why it's called the buttermelt. It's got something in there because you can smell her. In a good way. It's not like overwhelming. It's just kind of like, what is that? That's why I keep smelling it. Obviously, if it smelled bad, I wouldn't keep smelling it. That's it for the bronzer. Love it. It is a very, very good bronzer. NYX always kills in the complexion products. I did say at the beginning of the video that I don't have a highlight, but that is false because I realized in the Spellbook palette that I used earlier, I do have a highlighter down here, and it's called Caliban. So once I spray myself with the NYX Bear With Me spray again to kind of melt all the powders, I am going to go ahead and use that highlight shade. And I'm going to go ahead and do that on the brow bone. I hope the camera's picking that up right there because that's really pretty. But we're going to use it on the cheeks. Ooh. I quite like that. It's gold, but it's almost like a duochrome gold. I can't believe I've had this palette as long as I have, and I've never used that shade before. Of course, it's a beautiful highlight because they named it after Caliban. I'll put a picture up here in case you didn't watch the show or you don't remember what he looks like. All right, so for the eyes, and on the bottom, I'm going to go back into that shade number 19, which was that kind of more peachy one. And this along the lower lash line. I don't think I'm going to do much more under the eye because of how bold the top of it is. I don't want to go over the top on the bottom. So I went ahead and finished off my eyes with some lashes and shimmery lower liner. Neither of them are from NYX, so I'm not going to record me using them in a video about NYX. So I did have a few lip products that I've tried to film that were NYX that I was just going to put on for the sake of them being NYX for this video. They look really goofy with this eye look because of how warm it is, and they are all very cool toned. So I'm going to do a different lip combination, and I will be right back with you guys for my outro. This is it with the finished look. I ended up going with a kind of muted orange lip combo to go with the fieriness of the eyes. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, I hope you liked it. I am going to try to do some more fun videos like this. Thank you, Tina, again for the idea. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!